First. All right, guys. So first and foremost, as always, thank you for making a commitment to yourself and showing up. Right, that's the most important, or one of the important parts of the battle is showing up. As there's a few things you're going to get from this call, right? And there is a pattern, right? I never just bring somebody who's successful in business and who's not successful in their personal life. Right. And that is very, very, very important to me. Somebody that's not only a leader in business, but a leader to their network as a father, as a mother, as a role model. These are the type of individuals that I'm trying to consistently bring here to you guys. One of the networks, the higher level networks that I'm a part of is called the Arte Syndicate. And, as my duty to you is I am on a search to always find the best to bring to you guys. So you guys can learn from the best, not learn from theory, not learn from people who are just getting started, learn from people who have been there and done it and who are still continuing to do it at a very, very, very high level. And within that Arte Syndicate, which, by the way, I'll share with you guys, there is a November 4th or November 5th event I will drop in there for you guys. The authority when it comes to marketing is our next guest, Chance. Right. And anytime somebody posts about any type of marketing, they tag Chance. And the cool thing is, which I'll kind of, have Chance hit on, is I always tell you guys how to get the most out of these communities too. Like, because I know obviously everybody wants to do business. They want to get their membership paid for and some being in this community outside of the knowledge that you're going to get. But Chance also strategically used and leveraged that community at a high level to where everybody just goes to him, and he's not in there posting and soliciting. And he's going to share a little bit about what that looks like, so you guys can mimic that same strategy. As we grow this community with each other. But also, he's going to share the 101s of marketing, SEO marketing, the do's, the don'ts, the what to look for, is the mindset behind it. And the cool thing about it is you're going to get a brutally honest answer about this, right? And because this is the deal, he's going to give you the right expectations and what to look for when doing it, because there are companies out there paying him six figures, right? Because they trust him with their marketing. That's a very big tab, right? And then on top of that, when I talk about, Chance's success in business, towards the end of the call, I'm going to share with you, he just turned 40 years old and he shared 40 lessons that he's learned in business from getting to such a high level. And I always like to hear that perspective, because I want everybody to consistently, as you grow in your professional career and become making more money and get busier, right? And everybody starts approaching you with more opportunities because people are just seeing all you're doing. You can really learn from, some of the mistakes, some of the lessons, some of the stuff that you see on social media that a lot of people preach versus the reality of the situation. So I'm going to have him share with you guys kind of what that looked like in his journey, in his life, because quite frankly, he's nowhere near, I think, his max capacity of where he's going to go to within the next decade. So with that being said, housekeeping rules, guys, remember, let's continue to be locked in and focused. Try not to multitask, right? Some of these lessons, whether you're doing marketing now or whether you're thinking of hiring a marketing agency in the future, if you learn from this, you'll know the questions to ask and you'll know what to expect. So this could make you thousands upon thousands of dollars, or save you tens upon hundreds of thousands of dollars when you eventually make that investment. So let's be locked in. And as always, guys, please share the call, share our speaker, drop in the community what you learned, execute what you're being told. And let's continue to support and follow our speaker too, because it's very important to know that, these guys are doing a ton of different things, and it's such a blessing to have them invest an hour into you guys. So I want you guys to make sure that we always support our speakers. So Chance, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to pour into our community, my friend. Man, so if you can, let's kind of, go back to, we're going to dissect the 101s of marketing, but can you kind of share like what your company's doing now, just so people have an idea, like the specific companies that you're working with and all that stuff too?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I appreciate any opportunity like this, especially to talk to young entrepreneurs. It's kind of become something over the last, I would say, year that I find myself doing more and more of out of just pure enjoyment. You talked about life things. Man, I've been an entrepreneur for 11 years now. So talking to what I would call a kid, right? Or somebody that's just young in their journey, and watching them kind of grow and evolve from things that I've taught them is one of the coolest things I've done in the last year, specifically just kind of give advice and then watch it be executed and implemented. So I'm happy to be here, happy to give back. If I can help one person here, that's the way I look at it, then it's worthwhile. So, but to answer your question about as far as what we do, I mean, we are a full service digital marketing agency. We do everything from, these things you probably all at least are familiar with if you haven't done in some way, shape, or form, but everything from search engine optimization to we run and essentially optimize millions of dollars of both Facebook and Google ads per month. And we do a lot of content marketing. We do websites. I don't love to do them. I consider myself a marketer, not a developer. But the bottom line is this: we work with companies that we can help grow. And I legitimately turn down probably 2 to 3 businesses a week that want to work with us that I'm not confident in working with them. And what I mean by that is they're not the right fit. From a product perspective, I can tell. Can I speak freely in here? Can I say the word shit? Yeah. They don't have their shit together. Okay. They don't have the budget. They're trying to do $100,000 a month job on $2,500. And it's just the expectations are so unrealistic that it's not even funny. But I turn down businesses constantly because I'm very committed to making sure that if I engage in a partnership with a business, that I have to feel 100% confident that it's going to work. We still get fired. We still have campaigns that don't perform. Every single marketing agency out there does the same thing. Hell, every single marketing manager that works for a company has the same thing happen, right? I mean, if it was that easy, I wouldn't have a business. Everybody would just do it on their own. So, it's one of those things that I have to feel confident. And as I've scaled, by my business from, I think that we were, oh gosh, I think we probably did our first $1 million in revenue in like year 5. So like halfway through. And now we're, multiples of that now at this point. But, when we were a startup and doing a few $100,000 of revenue, even at $1 million, I would take every damn piece of business that came to me. Right. I mean, that's what we all do when we have very young businesses. We have to grow them. But I'm blessed and thankful to be in a position now where, I've learned a lot of hard lessons that way. And I can be selective on the businesses that we do take on just to, again, make sure that they're a fit. And it's not a money thing. When I say that, a lot of times people are like, oh, I can't afford that agency. It has nothing to do with that. I have clients that spend $2,500 a month and they knock it out of the park with $2,500 a month. So it's not just like, oh, you have to have these massive budgets. It's about understanding the landscape of what you're trying to do. There is a massive difference. I'll give you an example of a client that I have. They manufacture ultra high pressured homogenizers. Now, I don't know if anybody in here is a lot smarter than me. I'm sure you all are, but I've never even heard of such a thing. I don't even know what that, I still barely even know what it is. And they've been a client of mine for 8 years. Like it's something that basically scientists use. Okay. And there's like 8 companies on earth that do this. And these guys are based out of Boston, family owned business, small business. I mean, relatively small. I mean, I think they do $8 to $10 million a year in revenue, and they have clients all over the globe, and they spend $2,500 to $4,000 a month. And that's all they've ever spent. And they absolutely just dominate their industry online. They're not a huge budget client, but they're very niche, right? And the more niche that you are, the less competition that there is, and typically the easier that you can achieve results. So again, it's understanding every business, understanding the level of competition and understanding the game that you're trying to play, and essentially building out tactics around how to attack that from a marketing perspective within your budget, right? That's the key, within your budget. So can you check off all those boxes? And if you can, then there's a play to run. If you can't, you need to pivot and find a way to get to that point, and then you can flip that switch.
I think that is so important to know too, is for me, right? It's to hire a company, right, that also knows the marketing and like outside of just, we can run traffic, right? That's what we do. I can But like to find somebody that can like, listen, we can do this, but it's not going to work. Like, I'll tell you that right now. Like, these are the winning strategies. Like, you talk about niche, right? Like, that's a great example. Like, I don't know, like maybe the way you market your company, like if you show up with the way you brand it and the way you word it, right? You show up and there's a million other IT companies out there, right?
Right.
Maybe you try and find a different way to share how you can help people, word it differently. And guess what? You know, nobody shows up in that Google optimization. So as he says things, I'm just trying to store it so I can make sure that you guys don't miss this, because this is all important stuff. So, you know, I feel like, and even me too sometimes, right? So the harvest is, as I told you, it's all like organic, right? We never done like paid ads and all that stuff. But, you know, there's always that thing, right? And even just as everybody nowadays, like we're following these marketers and stuff. And it's almost like the marketing is the secret sauce. It's like whether you're in real estate or whatever business it is, insurance. And it's like, man, you know, all it is, man, when I eventually can do this $5,000 a month budget, like it's going to solve all my problems. I don't really have it. Just pay them and they're going to drive the leads and they're going to close them. Like, what is the real expectation that business owners and entrepreneurs should have when hiring a marketing company, so they don't just go in there with the mindset that it's the secret sauce and that within 30 days, right, they should be closing 10 deals a month or something like that.
Yeah.
So can you share with us what that is?
Yeah, no. Well, first of all, I love that you said that. It's the biggest bullshit myth in existence. There is no, I mean, look, have I had clients over the years that came in a situation like that and just started spending $5,000 a month and we completely changed the game for them? Yes, I have. Is that normal? Not at all, right? It amazes me how many businesses, and again, this is just getting more selective over time. It amazes me how many businesses will come in and hire us to do lead generation and then don't handle their leads efficiently. Mm-hmm. Like I have a good friend. He's actually an Arate. He's a roofer, very good friend of mine. He told me about 2 months ago, he wanted to cancel services. He goes, man, this isn't working. And I'm like, whoa, buddy. What do you mean it's not working? He's like, these leads are trash. I'm like, really? So I personally, and I don't do this anymore, I personally went and we record every phone call for tracking purposes. I listened to every single phone call that was coming in. I went through every single contact form that was filled out, and it was like 92% of them were legit leads. He's a roofer. Like if somebody puts in a contact form, my roof is leaking, I need somebody to call me, that I can't get any more legit than that. Hey, a storm just went through. Can somebody come check my roof? It doesn't get any more legit than that, right? So I called him out. And I said, listen, man, we're in a business relationship and we're friends. Right now, this business relationship is going to the side. I'm going to talk to you as a friend. You can't tell me your leads are trash. You're not calling them. Somebody on your team's not calling them. Something is happening. Well, so-and-so called all of them, you know, at one time 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, what? Man, if my roof is leaking, you can't call me 2 weeks later. You have to call me right now. My roof is leaking. And it just blows my mind, you know, when I hear things like this. It's like, you got to have some sense of what you do, right? The service that you provide or the product that you provide. And is there a sense of urgency around it, right? So, you know, this whole concept of let's just go pay a digital marketing agency and just explode. It doesn't work like that. I hate to say that people should just write blind checks because that sounds reckless, but you do have to understand that it is a marathon, not a sprint. I don't care what you're doing. You know, for a company like that, you know, he spends a lot of money running Google Ads, and you know, it is effective very quickly, right? I can build a campaign, we can flip the switch, and he can start getting leads effective immediately, and that's great for him. It does get better though, and the big thing that people really drop the ball on that is just not talked about nearly enough in the marketing space is CLV, customer lifetime value, right? Everybody wants to say, I paid $200 for that lead, or I paid $1,000 for 5 leads and I got one sale and it was a $10,000 sale. And, you know, I only netted XYZ dollars on it, or maybe I even broke even on that specific scenario. I didn't make any money. I broke even. Well, let's just use my roofing scenario. If you did a great job on that roof, that a storm just went through the neighborhood, Do you think the neighbor's roof got hit on both sides of you? How many houses got hit with the same storm damage or hail damage, whatever it is, right in the same area? And if you show up with your branded trucks and you're on time and you're one of the first people on the scene and you're cleaning up every day and you're saying hi to the neighbors and you're networking right in that area, is it really just one sale that came from that? And the answer is no. If you're doing your job as a business to organically grow, grassroots efforts beyond just a point of sale, right? One sale should be worth shit tons more. Not to mention, let's say another storm comes through 15 years later and you did a great job for that house, on that roof. Do you think they're going to call anybody else? No, they're not even going to look. They're immediately going to call you. Right?
This is, and guys, please, when I talk about like locking in, lifetime value of a customer. Now, this is very, very important because I just had a conversation with our real estate company about this, right? And for those of you that maybe you're not wrapping your head around it, right? In real estate terms, right? Let's just say, I help a client sell and buy a house, right? Most realtors, right, or whatever, like business owners, let's just say, can be very transactional. Right? They don't go like one of our like leaders and influencers and people that we follow, Andy. The main reason why his company is actually exploding because he overwhelms his clients with going above and beyond, showing them love, going the extra mile, like really, really, really good customer service. So let's just say whatever it is, that piece of business that you do, right? If you're transactional, okay, thank you for your business. See you later. I'll post a picture with you on social media. But if you deliver a great job, you give them a great experience, you stay in touch with them. As an example, I'm throwing a client appreciation event, right? All of my past clients are staying in touch with them. Well, guess what happens, right? That one sale or two sales, right? What happens when they then go and use your services again? How much you making then? Let's talk about all the referrals that because you overwhelm them with great customer service and because you stay in touch with them, let's talk about the referrals that they will send you to. How much are you making off of that? So lifetime value is how much business that you do from that one sale, only if, right, you deliver a great customer experience, you show love to them and you show appreciation, you stay top of mind. That's what we mean. And this is a conversation. Listen, I'm always trying to get better at this, but there's a lot of people. Somebody use your services. Let's be real with ourselves. When's the last time you checked in with them? You sent them a card. You invited them to an event. You did something special for them. You dropped in a video, a happy birthday video, right? I'm always trying to get better at this. I have a lot of room, but this is why this subject, and I didn't mean to go into this, but this is very important when he talks about the lifetime value. If you just execute this, you will do more business this next week if you go all in on this. So sorry.
I'll give you another example that just popped into my mind as you were going through that. Not a client of mine. He's a friend of mine. He's a plumber. And you want to talk about separating yourself. All right. Like this is the type of shit that changes a business, the complete dynamic of a business. Forget the marketing. This guy's plumbers. Okay. Your toilet clogs, literally. It has shit in it. Your toilet is clogging, spewing in your bathroom. All right. His plumber comes to fix it. Every single plumber on his entire team, this is a $30 million company. Okay. Every single one of them carries around one of those little, like almost shower cart looking things with cleaning supplies in it. Every single one of them. So no matter if the toilet overflowed in the bathroom or nothing overflowed, it was just, let's just say a broken handle on a sink or something that they had to fix. It didn't cause a mess. Every single plumber cleans the entire bathroom before they leave by hand. They clean it, mess or not. They clean the bathroom. They take in cleaning supplies and they clean the entire bathroom and they leave a note in there, a branded note when they leave. Every kitchen, every bathroom, wherever they go, they take cleaning supplies and clean it. Just because. Do you think that anybody is ever going to call another plumber after somebody does something like that for free? Never.
Pay more for it. Yeah, I'll pay more for that. I don't care.
And he probably is more, right? Yeah. He probably is more. I don't know, but I'm guessing his prices probably are a tad higher. But you talk about like adding value above and beyond. Like when I speak to contractors, I've actually been speaking at a contractor event next week out in Denver. I tell every single one of them this story, and I swear there's more plumbers cleaning bathrooms in this country because I tell this guy's secret sauce to everybody, but it blows my mind. I mean, going above and beyond, like that is the absolute example of it. So you can bring this into any business that you possibly have, like doing something that's almost outlandish. You talked about Andy Frisella and customer service. I ordered some of his new energy drinks from First Form and a couple other things. Well, a couple other things came. The energy drinks didn't. It didn't come to my house. And maybe I missed a separate shipping. I've never had a problem with anything with them ever. So I sent an email. I'm not kidding you, man. I had a response from a human being in my inbox within 3 minutes. Hey, Chance, just so you know, this is coming in a separate shipment. It'll be there today by noon. And I'm like, whoa, like it was like 3 minutes. I mean, I barely just sent it, you know? So again, just completely above and beyond. Obviously they do the handwritten notes and everything else, and they have an amazing culture. In my opinion, the best culture of any company on earth that I'm aware of, truly. But yeah, man, above and beyond. So if you guys, as you're all sitting here listening to this, like what can you do? You know, Devin, you do the videos. You sent me a happy birthday video. I'm building out a video studio right now in my office. My team is actually doing that today. That's why I'm here, because it's going to be loud. Because I have like 6 meetings today on video calls. So I'm at home today, but I'm doing the exact same thing. It's a way for me to stay in touch with more of my clients more frequently, because I don't have the time to just set up 30 to 60 minute calls with my 200 clients. I can't do it, right? But I want to touch base with them. So it's a way for me that I can rip out, 3 to 5 minute personalized videos discussing their analytics, discussing the good and the bad for that matter, strategies, what we can do, what my team and I talked about, so I can just rip them out quickly. It's a touch point.
Yeah. So, all right. So now we went into the do's and don'ts of marketing, the expectations, and I feel like, this is something in business too that is very, very important, because I shared a piece of content that Chance, when he did a podcast, he just said, he was like, listen, this is the deal. I'm brutally honest with people, right? So what happens is that covers your ass in the future. If something goes wrong, at least they won't get mad because you told them. I remember I was having a conversation with him. I'm like, what does that look like? Generating traffic. Let's just say I'm trying to advertise to get more people into the harvest. He goes, Devin, this is what I would tell you. You probably want to set aside X amount of dollars and literally just tell yourself you do not mind losing it, because it's a long-term game, right? So there's a lot, and Chad, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but let's just say, right, you do this advertising, right, for whatever, and this is valid for anybody on this screen, right? And let's just say you're like, man, nobody's buying my products. I'm not getting any sales. But on the other hand, what happens? You're getting their emails. And if you're in the harvest, right, I say it so much, I preach so much about the value of emails and how valuable they are if you use them the right way. And I give an example, Russell Brunson, right? ClickFunnels. Everybody knows he's one of the top market, whatever you want to say about him. But his number one thing is these sales letters, and they are relentless with just trying to get people on their email list, because they know that their email content will then cross-sell them to buy a package, to buy a product, to accept like an offer. So that was another thing, Chance, that you kind of opened up my mind to. And, can I like say one person that you work with? I won't give the strategy, the coach that you like that, or no, that's
I'll give it. I don't care. Ben Newman. Is that who
we're talking about? Yeah. Ben Newman, right? Chance. And by the way, if you don't know Ben Newman, I mean, he's a very well-known performance coach now. But Alabama, he goes and speaks to all the NFL teams. He just had this big virtual summit, right? This free virtual summit.
Free. Yeah, that's the key word, was free.
Exactly. So this is $1 million strategy if you just follow me on this. I'm like, what the heck is he doing? Free? Like, how's he making money? This shit is free. Like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
And then I talked to Chance, and then he's like, brother, listen, man, he's going to invest XYZ dollars, and everybody's going to sign up for this free summit, right? And then what's he getting, everybody? Emails. So he's giving away free shit, and that's not the first time you've heard this in the harvest, is what free stuff can you give away, right? To overwhelm your database and get them to opt in and build rapport with them. And then through the emails, right? Then that's when he can sell them on products, on coaching, on this and that and the other thing. So that was a like an aha moment for me when, you know, instead of just focusing on how many opt-ins am I getting, like how many purchases, right, am I getting versus just completely forgetting all the emails that you're getting to run marketing content to then sell in the future.
It's assets, right? You're building assets. That's the way I try to explain it. Every email address is an asset. You're not going to sell to every email address, right? You can't sell to every single one, but they're an asset. And you might not sell to some of them for years. You might sell to some of them tomorrow. You just have to understand that it's an asset. If they've shown interest in you, your product, your service, it's an asset. The key is how to use that email address and that point moving forward and making sure you're staying in front of those people. But, you know, he's still back to Ben Newman in that free event. You know, he spent tens of thousands of dollars. I'm not going to share specific numbers, but tens of thousands of dollars on the promotion of that. He's still printing money. He's getting speaking engagements now. Like there's so many things that he's getting now. He's got corporate coaching class. I mean, he's got his I think it's Uncommon Live coaching, which is like, it's like similar to this group that he's brought people into. It's at a high dollar amount per month. I mean, he's beyond profitable on that investment, but all it was red ink on paper for 4 months, right? Yep. He got his ass kicked in. If you just look at your P&L, right? I mean, he just lost tens of thousands of dollars, but bam, right? It was an investment to then come through on the other side of it. And he will continue to do that event every single year moving forward. And that event will continue to grow. And he got tens of thousands of email addresses he didn't have before. So he'll continue to grow that event over and over again. It'll get bigger and bigger and bigger. He'll have more and more money behind it. John Gordon was actually the one that started this process. That's where I got the concept from. He does something similar and I took it to Ben. But yeah, man, it's a model that works a lot, especially for coaching type of services, you know, groups like that, where it's a numbers game, right? You want as many of them as you can get. So again, another key takeaway here is dissecting every single business. The plumbing client that I just talked about is not going to go put on a free virtual event to get a bunch of email addresses. He's a completely different world, completely different industry, niche, absolutely nothing in common than somebody like Ben Newman trying to grow a coaching group. Like it's not even, so you have to look at every single business and have marketing sense to break down who are my people, how do I get in front of them, and how do I get them to buy from me, right? It's a process. And then how do I turn them into repeat customers, referrals, et cetera, which is kind of that final stage of that funnel. But that's what you have to understand. You have to objectively look at your business. Where are my people? How do I get in front of them? Is there a moment of relevance that I want to get in front of them? So for example, like an e-com store, if I'm selling t-shirts, there's not a moment of relevance that I need this shirt right here, right? So it's a completely different game than, holy shit, my sink's flooding all over my kitchen. I need a plumber right now. Different game. So you got to be able to objectively look at every business and build strategies around it that are actually going to get you in front of people.
Yeah. And one more question from me. And then, by the way, guys, if you have any like marketing questions, because if you are in business, if you are in sales, right, and you know, there is no stupid questions. This stuff is very, very, very important. So if you are, this is why I bring people like this in here. He's going and speaking on a roofing, he speaks all over the place, right? And you guys have him right now. So don't waste the opportunity to ask marketing questions because you got one of the best on here. So let's just say, you know, if you could dial in, right, your best, like the best version of a client that came to you, like how would they need to be prepared? So everybody that's on here, and guys, I want to give you another angle. Right? When you're trying to develop rapport and add value to people in your network, which is the main part of the harvest too, is helping others. What you're learning on here, you could be sharing with your clients. I see Mike Fulgenetti, right? He has his own insurance brokerage. Well, imagine if he started sharing this information to some of his clients who eventually want to start doing some marketing. And because he was on this call, he can share some valuable tips with them to make sure that they don't waste tens of thousands of dollars. So just because maybe you're not marketing right now, don't mean that this information is not valuable to share with other people, which will then in turn have them want to be lifelong referral partners with you because you went above and beyond for them. So if you're on this call, what would the best version, the best client, how would they show up to a marketing company to be set up for success?
Man, the number one thing that I'm going to answer your question. Let me back up a little bit.
Yeah.
One thing that is almost irritating to me, and it's irritating to me because I live in the space, and people are just ignorant. When I say people are ignorant, I'm just saying that lack of education. I'm not like throwing shots at anybody. I'm just saying they're not as educated a lot of times when I'm dealing with people in these conversations as I would like them to be just about this world. But what you have to understand about digital marketing in general, really just marketing in general. I mean, you could even go traditional routes, billboards, TV commercials. I mean, all marketing works, guys. I'm not like an anti, traditional marketing method. I know people that kill it on mailers still. It blows my mind, but they kill it, right? So again, understanding your business, trial and error, committing to the marathon, not a sprint. But the big thing that I do that is very different than most digital marketing agencies is I don't come to people with a strategy and a price tag on it. To me, that doesn't make sense. You need to understand your business and what your budget is to allocate to a marketing investment before you get on the phone with somebody like me or a traditional marketing guy or anything else. You can come to me and say, hey, Chance, I want to, market my business online, whatever the hell it is. And I could build together, a plan, Google ads, Facebook ads, content marketing, email marketing. I could build this big, robust plan, and it's $12,000 a month. And you have $3,000. All that we did was just waste a whole bunch of each other's time, right? So I don't do that. I used to put together like plans. Now I really push my prospective clients to give me a budget. What can you work with? This is a pay-to-play game. Marketing is a pay-to-play game. The more you spend, the more real estate that you get. I don't care what it is. Again, traditional or digital, the more you spend, the more that you get. Are there ceilings? Yes, absolutely. My ultra high pressure homogenizer client, they cannot spend $100,000 a month. Candidly, they probably can't even spend $10,000 a month. I've got their market completely saturated. Are there more things they could do? Probably. But as far as like moving the needle in their business, they're tapped out. Okay. So there are ceilings in industries, but the big thing is your budget. And you need to understand your business enough. And if you don't understand your business enough, you probably don't have the right money people around you, but you need to be able to look at your P&L. You need to be able to look at, your cash flow and understand like, what can I invest in something like this? What am I comfortable with that's not going to put my business in a bad situation financially? So that's the big thing that I try to push people to do. And look, I understand it's not all like a perfect science. I understand that coming up with numbers like this is can be complex and there can be moving parts. You might have a business, where you're net 90 getting paid and you could go through big gaps and maybe you have to tap into a line of credit to get through those. I mean, that you could have a very seasonal business, whether it be retail where you do 75% of your sales, around the holidays, right? In November and December. There's a million different things. Trust me, there's probably not many conversations I haven't had about different business types, but just generally speaking, understanding your finances going into a marketing investment really helps us guys like me on my side of the table come up with a plan that's actually going to fit for you, right? I think that's like the biggest thing that frustrates me when people just come into it blind and they couldn't afford an ideal plan. So why waste everybody's time? Like what can you do? What are you comfortable with? And if we have to stretch a little bit further, then we have that conversation when we get there. If we don't, then we use the budget. It's all understanding that. But trusting somebody like me to have that conversation with you and help guide you. And again, I turn away a couple businesses a week that are referred to us or whatever that want to work with us. That it's not going to make sense. So I won't do it. And I think that helps me a lot as well. I've had a lot of people come back to me, 6 months later, 12 months, 3 years later. Hey man, I appreciated you being honest with me a couple of years ago. My business has grown. I'm here now and I can do this, and heard you were the guy. Let's talk. And I'm happy to have those conversations down the road. But, getting a good referral is always helpful, right? You don't want somebody to just take your money every month just to take your money. And again, I think that just with the size of my agency, I used to be that guy. I think every business is that hungry in the beginning and they take on things, deals and, sales that they probably shouldn't. But being more established makes it a lot easier to truly just do the right thing for people without having any type of blinders on about growing your own company.
Perfect. Fulgenetti, I see you got a question. Fire away, my friend.
Yeah, Chance, thanks so much for being here, man. I really appreciate
Sure.
your time and experience. I have an insurance agency, independent agency, right, with multiple carriers, and we also have a tag and titling business. And I'm someone who's always been like, if they're walking through my doors, I need to service them, right? I'm hard to turn people away, so I appreciate that perspective a little bit as they try to develop and grow. But in the marketing and stuff, being in an insurance agency, we compete. I don't know if you watch any television or if you touch your phone once, it's like Allstate, Progressive, Nationwide. It's such a saturated dollar invested into marketing by these big billion-dollar companies, trying to keep it local, trying to use the social media, avenues, the family avenues. Do you have any recommendations or secret sauces to kind of cut through the fat? Because a lot of times they get the mail, they get the premium. Oh man, this is too expensive. And then they pay it anyway because they don't want to go through the process of requoting to try to capture that, but competing with budgets that are, 1,000 to 10,000x what mine would be.
Oh, you got millions and millions and millions of dollars. That's actually the insurance industry, specifically like property and casualty, is I believe, at least it used to be, the most expensive industry from a Google Ads perspective in the world. There is no more money spent because you compete with everybody from the guy down the road who has his independent brokerage to State Farm, right? Yep. Or whoever. Like, you compete with everybody. So here's what I would ask you. Okay. I know how to answer your question, but I would like to ask you a question. All right.
Absolutely.
What is your biggest asset in your business from a marketing standpoint?
My biggest asset?
Mm-hmm. What's the most valuable thing that you have? Let me ask you another question in a different way. Where does most of your new business come from?
The local community.
Referrals?
Yeah, yes. I guess more, not as much referrals as just being present at the right time. We have a location. My father moved our agency to a very, very high traffic corner in our township. So, a lot of times it's just people driving by, walking in, doing the title deal and saying, "Oh, you do insurance as well?" Even though our sign says insurance, it's just kind of that.
What types of insurance?
Bigger assessment. What? P&C.
Okay, P&C.
Small business, general liability, life insurance. Okay. We do it all.
So I figured that your answer to your question was going to be my clients, right? And just referrals in general. You're saying the community. Yeah. It sounds like you've got brick and mortar that helps as well. But yes, in my opinion, the number one asset that you have, and again, there's other moving parts here, but it is your client base, right? So my big question to you would be not what are you doing to drive more business that's new, but how well are you taking care of your people? And are you ever asking them if they have somebody else that they would refer to you? It's something that blows my mind that people are so scared to do and they never do. They never ask. In your business, you probably have families. You said your dad's whatever. No offense, but you don't look like you're 18. So your business has probably been around a while, right? Like you guys probably have families that you've been deep rooted in for a long time, right? Are we asking them? Are we asking them? Right. And are
actively enough.
Right. And are we sure that they are overly happy? So again, it comes back to that amazing customer service, making sure that we're staying in front of them and then asking. Don't overwhelm them. Like Devin's talking about ClickFunnels. You guys might not even be familiar with them, but it's just a landing page software tracking, whatever. They suffocate people. That is not your strategy. You're going to piss people off. Okay. In your world, though, are we doing those annual reviews? Just a 5-minute phone call, right? Just things that's your opportunity. Touch base and ask. To me, that's your baby. So staying as actively involved in your community as you can, which I'm sure that you do, and taking care of your people with a service above and beyond. Man, I need to switch my stuff. I can't tell you the last time I heard from, and I've got, man, I've got a $500,000 boat, $500,000 worth of cars, 2 homes. Like, I can't tell you the last time I heard from my guy. So you're making me think, like, my guy probably doesn't respect me and I've got to be one of his better clients. So, things like that, staying in front of your people, especially your higher net worth clients, right? Like your A-tier clients or however you want to look at that. Clients where there's more cross sales, clients where they know more people that are probably at that level, bigger cases, right? So just nurturing those people and asking, that would be the best advice that I can give it. Insurance, real estate, mortgage brokers, those all kind of fall in that like bucket of you've just got to be amazing for your people. Like you have to separate yourself. And that's the biggest thing. And maybe you can come up with a creative way to do that even more and beyond.
Absolutely.
But everybody sends the damn, koozie or the magnet or that shit. It's fine to keep your brand in front of people, but everybody does it. It's not a separator. Like, you've got to separate yourself. The handwritten notes, that's a huge thing. On just a piece of paper, just send a handwritten note. Hey, Joe Schmo, just wanted to tell you that I was reviewing your account and thank you. You've been loyal to us for 15 years. If you ever need anything, please let me know, right? So a lot of people do like the thank yous, right? Like First Form, we were talking about Andy Frisilla again. To me, he was like the first guy I really, really saw do this on a large scale. Every single order that you get in the mail has a handwritten note and it's saying thank you. That, in my opinion, has become overplayed. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying don't do it. But when's the last time you sent your 10-year client a handwritten note telling him thank you for his business?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
3 sentences. It's not a novel, just 3 sentences, right? And you can literally rip as many of those out as you can. Just things like that. Find ways to separate yourself, but nurture what you have. That'd be my best piece of advice.
There's also a lot of cool, like Kevin the Duke. I don't know if he's on this call, but there's a lot of you think of these websites. I'll give you an example. A guy, a Bucks County realtor, sent me a referral over here. Right when I close them, on this website you can order a bottle of champagne with 2 flute glasses. And it came in a nice box. It was like 120 whatever bucks, right? And I was like, yo, check out your front door. He was like, he picked the box up and he was like, holy shit, dude. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like when we talk about separators, and Gold Belly, right? Gold Belly is a website where you can go and it's all these, I know one of my clients, to be honest with you, I think one of the deals, one of our buyers fell through and it was a seller. And I sent them it was like a box with I knew they loved barbecue with all barbecue food, right? And then they were like, holy shit, man. And we went under contract again. But for the most part, there's all types of cool, separation gifts. But man, that's, again, it's just, man.
One thing that you just said, Devin, that I think is important. You didn't say it this way, but you said it. Personalization. If you help somebody buy a home, you got to know them pretty decently. And if not, you're probably not doing a very good job, right? You need to find something out personal about these people, buy them something that they actually like or care about, right? Michael, back to you, last guy that asked a question. I mean, you probably got a hell of a client base now, but either way, anybody that you have, it's the bottle of champagne and the flutes, the magnet, the shit. I mean, we all look at it the same way. Now, if you sent me, a new putter, because I just started golfing 8 weeks ago. I'm absolutely atrocious. I'm a duck hunter. If you sent me a box of shotgun shells or something like personal, something that I like, that I want to do, right? That, you talk about separators, that is a separator. That shows so much more care than any type of cookie cutter gifting. It's beyond, it's a game changer. And again, this all comes back to just, I'm here to talk about marketing, but what this all goes back to, you do marketing and you get people, you've got to make sure that they turn into more sales. You've got to take care of them and make yourself different, right? That is the key.
Yeah, man. I just in common with you, I just started golfing 10 years ago, still trash, man. So yeah.
I'm 10 weeks, so I got a little more of a hall pass.
All right. So, guys, there's one thing I wanted to share before wrapping up this call, because one of the things, and again, they're not going to kind of really press on how successful they are, because that's the type of people that they are. But for the most part, I always like to learn what these people who make it to these, I call them 1%er levels, right? What did you learn from this journey so far? Because I try and learn from it. So Chance, I wanted to share with you guys, it was a pretty cool post. Chance posted on his 40th birthday. He's like, these are 40 things that I've learned so far in this life. And I felt like this is very important for everybody. It doesn't matter what age you are. I mean, at the end of the day, we have a big vision for our business, for our life. When in the harvest, it's all about holistic success, high performance living, not just a high performance business or a high performance bank account, right? It's So this is what he shared, and I felt like this is very important. And if there's anything that sticks out to you guys, if you have any questions, dig into this. But bear with me. It's 40 things, and I suck at reading, but I'm going to rip through this. The first thing is what you focus on, you manifest. Your thoughts are much more powerful than you subconsciously realize. That's one. I know we've heard that in here too, but it's just good to have it reaffirmed. Second one, which this one was the biggest thing that it was like, wow, like money isn't everything. Financial freedom is. That is a major key right there. 3, working 80 hours a week isn't cool. That means you have no life. 4, you can't scale a business without having amazing people around you. 5, everyone tells you that they believe in you or that they've always knew you'd make it after you made it. 6, none of these people, and it's an emoji point, none of these people were truly there through the darkest times. 7, negative people are a cancer in your life. Employees, friends, and yes, even family have to be removed and cut back if they bring you down. 8, there aren't many things better than being out in the country drinking an ice cold beer on a tailgate. Now, remember, this is his flavor, right? So you don't have to agree with everything, but that is a good point. Although my ass ain't in the country too much. I probably will be in the next day. 9, we all spend too much time caring about what other people think. 10, education has nothing to do with being smart. In 99% of occupations, your degree is nothing more than a piece of paper. 11, there is a win on the other side of every defeat. So important to understand that. 12, you should live your life for the experience, not materials. That's another crazy point to dive into. 13, people are incredibly easy to manipulate in masses. See our political environment. Be a lion, not a sheep. I'm sure you guys heard of that clothing line. A lot of you wear it. 14, when you read or see the news, it is likely the exact opposite of the reality and truth. 15, censorship is garbage, period. 16, the most painful times bring the most amazing times. Another good point. 7, when people say you've changed, 17, when people say you've changed, that's a good thing as the point out in your life has evolved. 18, it is in fact lonely at the top. That was an interesting topic that I talked to Chance about.
We did.
Yeah, right. And you had a great response to that too. 19, 95% of small businesses fail because 99% of people don't have the grit to fight through the hard times. 20, the only common factor in all of your life's failures is you. We have a saying here, it's always you versus you. 21, there is no such thing as a work-life balance. 2022, our education system is failing our children and has been for over 20 years. Times and technology have changed. Education hasn't adapted. Guys, each of these we can all go into an in-depth conversation about, but I want you to know, like, these are just lessons that he's learned, and some of these things in your subconscious, there may be something that you want to unpack when you hear this stuff. Working smarter is in fact more efficient than working harder. 24, being a 1%er requires sacrifices that only 1%ers understand. 25, 1%ers don't hate on other 1%ers, but the 99% sure do have a lot to say. 26, business partners can be the absolute worst or the absolute best thing ever. 27, a married man is only as strong as the wife behind him. That's a valid point. 28, parenting is hard, really hard. I'm glad you said that shit. I thought I was just going through this stuff on my own. 29, social media is a fabricated highlight reel. Everybody has skeletons in their closet. 30, disagreeing with people is healthy as long as you respect them first. 31, having great self-awareness is a superpower. That is a topic. Self-awareness, a lot of people don't truly want to face in the mirror because you start looking at the things that you're not good at, right? And you may get anxious, and then it's like, but if you use it as a superpower, you can attack it and get better and become the superhero version of yourself. 32, life is too short to dwell on other people's baggage. Keep your inner circle lean and clean. And by the way, sometimes that shit can be family too. You cannot control the uncontrollable. Control what you can control. We talk about that a lot. Focus on what you can control. 35, you get exactly out of people what you put into them. What a powerful statement there, both personally and professionally. That's a leadership topic right there too. It doesn't matter where you came from or how hard you had it. Nobody cares. Only you create your path. Entrepreneurs are a different breed of human being. If you are one, you should be surrounded by others so you can be understood, which is why the Harvest, one of the reasons why Harvest was born. 38, understanding your spouse or significant other's love language is more important than understanding your own. Interesting topic there. 39, your kids don't usually hear what you say, but they always see what you do. We talk about that a lot. And 40, no matter how bad you think it is, when it's all said and done, it wasn't as bad as it seemed. So that was, that was very powerful to read through, man. And I'm like, when you go through these journeys and you get to these levels, man, it's like, what do people learn? So we don't make the same mistakes. So I just wanted to, I'm going to post this in the Harvest group too. Hey, if anything came top of mind for you as you heard this, be open for discussion on that within the Harvest. But I just want to share that with you guys because there's a ton of lessons to unpack in there. Maybe it gave you peace and verification on some things that you've been thinking about that, you just needed to hear from somebody else. But that last thing in our Chance, there's a guy, Brian Hess, who's in our group and in this, in Arte. We're in this Warriors for Christ group. And there was an interesting topic yesterday about people handling business. And Brian said, and this has everything to do with number 40. And he said this one thing. He's like, listen, this is the deal. He goes, think about if you went broke, right? He goes, you are broke in the greatest country in the world, right? So at the end of the day, right, think about if you lost all your money, this is the key. What do you have left, right? Well, you have whatever your faith is. For me, I have God, right? I have my kids. I have my wife. I have my health, right? So when he says, like, it wasn't as bad, when it's all said and done, it wasn't as bad as it seemed, no matter how bad you think it is, right? Like, hey, if you lost your whatever, you went broke, what do you have left? And I'll tell you what, if I lost all this shit and I still have my family and I still have God, I'll still fucking survive because, and he said, if you're broke in this country, you're still doing way better than everybody else in the world. And that I wanted to share with you guys. And the reason why that's important is because maybe there's things you're trying to attack, but we have that fear, right? Of, man, well, what's going to happen if I do this? Right. So I don't know if you had any closing thoughts, Chance, on, I don't know, I guess, what do you think, if you could pick one out of all these that you can be like, you know what, out of all these, I know this is all like great stuff that I learned. Like, is there like one that stands out to you that was like a real aha moment, like especially as you got to the financial situation that you have now, like through growing your business?
It's definitely that last one. No questions asked. I mean, I look at everything from, my life journey in a nutshell. Dad had an affair on mom when I was 8, left us. Single, only child, like grew up in a 600 square foot cinder block foundation home with nothing, like couldn't even afford shoes to play sports, to being on academic probation 4 times in college because I didn't know I had ADD, to failing out of college, to having my first job being a top performer in the country and being miserable every day, making 6 figures, miserable, just miserable, hated life, didn't understand why I hated it because I had money, right? To a business partner divorce that was extremely ugly. I had a business partner my first few years in business. And when I say ugly, like I tried to kill him physically at the closing. To having a 483 credit score, not being able to get a cell phone without having my credit checked. That's how terrible it was. To, I had a time a year and a half ago where I lost $1.5 million of revenue in 8 weeks. And it was like, oh my God, like what's happening? To COVID, right? I lost a ton when COVID happened. every single time when I look at what happened on the other side of those things were the best things in my life. Like literally, you can look at every single terrible thing that you have been through and you can take life-changing positive experiences out of those. Every single one of them. 483 credit score. My credit score is over 800 now. I learned tricks like to leave small balances of like less than $5 on credit cards. People don't know this. When you pay it off in full, it's actually a bad thing. Leave small balances. Just from that to, being terrible with money to, I use Claudio Gambin. I don't know, Devin, if we've talked about him at all, but I was referred to him through Ben Newman, one of the smartest money guys on earth. I mean, my money guy is Kenny Chesney's money guy. He's amazing, right? So, just every single thing that I have learned through, the hardest times of my life led to the best times. And I think that if we get so consumed in the shit when we're being drugged through the mud, right? We get so self-consumed in the mud that it's hard to realize that. But if you ever can just take a step back and look at everything that you've done and the terrible times, every single one of them, there was something better on the other side. And if you can keep that mentality through the worst times of your life, like it's going to be much easier for you to get through them and move forward. But that last one is by far the most important thing. None of them were actually as horrible as they seemed, right? Because they were all great things at the end of the day. They really were.
Well, I'll tell you what, couldn't think of a better note to leave this call off at. And we got a little taste of Chance's journey too through that, which is awesome. So Chance, can't thank you enough, man, for pouring into this community. Guys, follow Chance, share the call, share Chance, and, just thank you guys. And most importantly, as we always say, just take action on some of the things that you learned. If there was one thing that stuck to you, go all in on that. Put it in your calendar. Make it a habit. Make it a ritual, because that's going to carry you when motivation will not. So, Chance, thank you so much, man. Have a great day, brother. I appreciate you.
Of course. Appreciate you. Take care.